Hello, this is Torn, and this is going to be my final project for Internet of Things, and I'm looking at how we can improve motion sensor lights. Starting with my 4-point slides, here's Hector Salamanca. If you don't know, he's Breaking Bad a Better Call Saul character, and job aside and everything, one thing about his character for most of the shows is that he is wheelchair bound and has difficulties with everyday activities. These can include things such as simple as, like, say, making breakfast, but what I'm looking at is something even simpler, which is just turning on a light and having it just be the brightness that you want, which is something very simple for us, but for someone that has some accessibility issues, this is not as easy. He's extremely busy, so he needs to save his energy and time on the things that really matter, not just turn on a light. So what's been done? As you can see, there are these motion sensor lights, but part of a light is the brightness, and yes, these lights turn on with the motion, but to adjust the brightness, you have to manually do it, and that kind of takes away the kind of feat that is these motion sensor lights, because yes, they do turn on, and that's great, but if you want to adjust the brightness, which is just something you're probably going to want to do in like a home setting, because you're not always going to want these really bright lights, that's a pretty big factor. So what can I do? What I was have made is that a sensor both that takes into account motion but also the ambient lighting and tracks it in order to give off enough light where it reaches a nice level but not over too bright or not enough brightness. So how this kind of works is, say if it's really bright outside, you get a lot of natural sunlight into your house, you're not going to want your lights on full brightness, full blast. You would kind of want it probably a lower level. So this will take into account that kind of outside light and turn on the lights a little dimmer than full brightness, so that it's not overly bright in your house. What's the impact? So as you can see here, motion sensor lights save a lot of energy. That much is known. They're really great, but what with mine is that I think this could take an even further step, because that way it's already saving energy with these lights, but what if we could also reduce the energy that's used when these lights are being turned on too? That's another big factor that isn't really taken into account, because there's very, very rare instances in a home setting that you're going to want your lights on full brightness all the time. So that's kind of what I was looking for. So just kind of looking into the design of what makes my project. So I have a finite state machine, and kind of how it's working is first going to reach the sense case, and it's going to check the motion, and then it's going to go over to think. If there's no motion, then light's not really needed. You can adjust the timer on this, but if there's no motion, say for like a few minutes, like 5 minutes or something like that, then you don't really need the light, so it's going to turn off for you automatically. But this is very much adjustable. But if there is motion, then we're going to go over to act, and this is where the cool stuff happens. So we're going to find the ambient lighting, which can be done in this find light valve function, and that's going to take into account the ambient lighting in the room, and then it's going to determine what the proper lighting should be. So we can start looking at the project. So here, got some motion. You can see the light is red right now. Red simplifies that there is not a lot of kind of surrounding brightness, and that there should be a lot of lightness. Granted, this is the ambient sensor right here, so you can see it's kind of dark because like the shadow's overcast, so that's why it might say that right here. In like a home setting, you would have a better sensor that can take everything into account better than what this can do, but still I can show it off. And I chose these colors because I think it's kind of better showcasing than just showing brightness right now, because like you see the red really shows that needs some brightness. This would represent like full brightness, but then say there's a little more light coming in, right? So this is about like half brightness. You can see here, motion detected, yeah, so it's about 3 is like the medium level, so there's some light coming in, but it's not a crazy amount. Kind of the cooler the colors gets is going to be like the less lighting that is going to be needed. So right now green would mean like green and yellow, that's like levels 3 and 4, so not as much light is needed as opposed to red, but there's still some. But then if we turn it even further, put the motion on, get my finger out the way, you can see it's blue, Blue would show that there's not much light needed, and that's because there's a lot of ambient light coming in through my lamp right here that's hitting the ambient sensor and going on to right there. So that just kind of, it's a brief showcase. Some things that I still need to do. I still need to do the Python process. I need to do the data logging and the networking, but that's to come. And this is most of the project, and I'm really happy to have done this. I think the impact of this project could be really high. Lights are just a necessity nowadays, or just for everyone. And I think any way to improve upon something as simple as a light for people is some of like the most important things that we can do. And I'm really proud of this project. And Internet of Things to me is just making everything more automated and easier for everyone. So I'm really happy with this project. Thank you so much.